By the end of this video, you will know the real reason behind asking why you in interviews, what is the bare minimum you need to cover in your answer, and how to really stand out as a candidate. My lovely assistant, Dr. Strange, will also demonstrate the weak and strong answers so you can see how it would look like in real life. My name is Mary, and I worked in strategy consulting and audit in London for over 12 years, where I was also involved in student and MBA recruitment. This video is a part of an ongoing interview prep series, so drop a comment with a question you would like me to cover next. And now, let's get on with it. So, why you? Believe it or not, this is a commercial question. For most roles, there will be plenty of competent candidates who will bring something exciting to the table. So how do you choose the right ones? This question is more like an ROI equation. They're trying to quantify the overall value you will bring to the company. Will you be able to learn the role quickly and hit the ground running? How productive will you be? Can they train you to win new clients or become a future company leader? Are you likely to come up with cost-saving ideas and find new efficiencies? All of these things will make or save them money. On the other hand, there are costs attached to you. The costs of hiring and training you, and also paying you salary and benefits. So the question really becomes, will you bring enough total value to the company to offset the cost of hiring you? In other words, how much is your net value compared to other candidates? At the bare minimum, your answer needs to show two things. First, you make it clear that you meet the requirements of the role. To do that, you need to take the job description and match each requirement bullet by bullet to a skill you have, and back it up with an example of you demonstrating that skill. They want a self-starter? You tell them about your side hustle or a fundraising event you organized. They want a team player? You fondly recall playing football since you were 5, all the way up to playing for the first team at university, and that this taught you about the importance of communication, support, and camaraderie when it comes to achieving challenging goals. You know the shtick, typical interview stuff. Choosing the strongest examples is important because this is how the interviewer compares the strengths of your skill to other candidates. Secondly, you cover your motivation to do this job. You need to make it clear that you have at least some inner fire and enthusiasm, because that makes for happier, more productive, more creative employees who don't just see it as a 9-to-5. Those who remain curious and excited even when shit hits the fan, deadlines loom, and you have to work the extra hours. These sort of people also tend to be the ones coming up with new ideas and initiatives in the workplace, which either strengthens the office culture or makes company money. When I was a consulting manager, I interviewed business analysts to bring onto my next project. And several times there were some juniors who actually had experience in that particular type of project or industry. And then there was somebody who didn't have that experience, but they were clearly keen to try a project like that. I would usually go for the person who has shown the most enthusiasm, even if they didn't have all the relevant experience. Why? Well, I could teach them project or industry specifics, and they would learn quickly because they were motivated. But you can't really teach enthusiasm or motivation. The same principle applies in an interview. A motivated, enthusiastic candidate just signals, I will work harder. So you need to explain why you want to do this role, not just why you're qualified for it. An element of that will come from your why this company answer, but an element would also come from your personal interest in the role. It is very difficult to claim you've always wanted to be a product manager in tech if you've never done anything to signal that interest. So at the very least, you need to pinpoint to some relevant training that you did, or a student society that you joined, perhaps an event you attended or a passion project you completed, to give that compelling evidence that your interest and enthusiasm are genuine. But let's be honest, your childhood dream might not have been becoming an accountant. Mine certainly wasn't. In that case, I don't recommend being overly enthusiastic about something you clearly don't care about. Instead, talk about the broader things you like about the role. Maybe you like meeting new people and working in a team, so a client-facing project-based role is something that will give you energy. Or, as it was in my case, I didn't particularly care about accounting or finance, but I liked the sound of working with clients across many different industries. I knew that the job would offer variety and an opportunity to learn really how largest company in the world work, so I knew I would really enjoy that. especially because auditors get access to all company information they need to do their work. So you really get to learn the real behind the scenes. I also like the sound of being able to tell people they're wrong for a living, but I didn't mention that in the interview. My point is, find your silver lining and talk about it with sincere passion. That's the basic foundation of a good answer. If you really want to stand out, we have more work to do. And if you learned something new, give this video a like. It tells YouTube to show it to other students and job hunters. And if you found this helpful, subscribe so you don't miss my future videos. To really set yourself apart from other candidates, you need to double down on how much value you will bring to the company and get even more specific. First, in addition to doing the job description to skill mapping we discussed already, mention other day-to-day elements of the role that perhaps are not as flashed out in the job listing and tie them to your skills, experience, and personal alignment to the role. For example, I understand that another day-to-day aspect of this job involves coordination with other departments like legal and tax to quickly help the client with any ad hoc queries. I see building strong peer relationships as one of my strengths, and I would really be able to establish quick trust with these departments to get help for our clients promptly. For example, as a social sec for my society, I organized a cross-university networking event for all engineering undergrads at UCL, King's, and Imperial, which was attended by over 100 people and helped me develop a great support network in London as a result. The answer shows a deeper understanding of the role's activities and correctly identifying which skill would matter for them, in this case, relationship building and initiative. Then we use that deeper understanding to showcase that this skill is a strength of yours, backed up with some evidence of a specific example of you demonstrating that skill. But how would you learn more about the role or the company beyond what's available online and in the job description? Well, ideally you would speak to someone currently in that role and learn from them. In other words, you would need to do a bit of networking. If you need a refresher on how networking works as a career search tool, I have a video on this topic. Link is in the description. Not only is it impressive and reassuring to the interviewer that you care about their particular role, so much that you went the extra mile to speak to current employees. Networking also helps you get information about the role that most applicants just won't possess. Use that information wisely to add color to your interview responses for company and role-related questions. If you struggle to get in contact with a current employee in your target role, you could always try researching on Reddit, Glassdoor, Fishbowl, or Wikijobs for some role-specific insights. Keep in mind though, as Abraham Lincoln once said,
"Don't believe everything you see on the internet."
Secondly, if you have achieved something that most of your peers haven't, and it's relevant to the role, you should say it. Yes, I know it might feel cringe or arrogant, but there are ways to phrase these things that don't make you sound like a total twazak. For example, you could say, "My team won UK's most elite business case competition, the Goldman Morgan Cup, where we beat 20 other teams from top UK universities. My contribution was significant as I was leading the most complex part, the financial projections." Or you could say, "Our team won Goldman Stanley's UK business case competition, and working with my talented teammates was one of the highlights during my time at university. The experience taught me a lot about the value of having different points of view, and as I was responsible for financial projections, I was able to see how practice differs from theory." One version emphasizes prestige and sounds full of it, maybe even with a twinge of insecurity. Another version focuses on what the person learned and their positive attitude towards their team. And finally, you could also talk about what you will bring to the role and the company beyond what is expected of you. This is a bit of a wild card, so use it only if 100% sure this will be taken the right way. For example, you could talk about how you were really inspired to apply after attending a recruitment event on campus and speaking to one of the current graduates working at the company. As a result, you would love to contribute to the company's recruitment efforts in the future and inspire others to apply. Or you could talk about how the company is famous for giving back and volunteering. Maybe quote a particular initiative that impressed you, and you would love to be part of that too. Again, use this if this is genuinely true for you. People can sense if you're being sincere or not. Right, let's get Dr. Strange to showcase some weaker and stronger answers, and I will debrief after each one.
I believe I'm a strong candidate because I'm very hardworking and motivated. Being a first-generation university student, I overcame adversity and I achieved a first in both my first and second years, achieving the top scores in several finance modules. In addition to that, I'm highly organised and I always give 100% in everything I do. I was able to maintain a strong academic record in addition to acting as the president of my university's consulting society and winning a few case competitions. During my time with the Consulting Society, I got to really learn about your company and the nuances of the consulting industry. I think I'd be a great asset to the team.
I mean, the guy sounds great on paper, but notice that the company and the role almost take a back seat. He doesn't really cover many essential skills a consultant would need, like conflict resolution or problem solving. There is also a difference between excelling at university and excelling at work. At university, you just need to learn theory and pass exams. At work, you need to think on your feet, adjust, and find creative solutions. It is also somewhat presumptuous to say you understood the industry and the company just by being a society president, and then not offering any further information to support that claim. Finally, he doesn't make a specific tie-in to the company. He doubles down on being a great asset, period. He could be a great asset in any company, theoretically, but not much is offered to explain why that particular company is at the top of his list. Let's try that again.
I think I'd be a good fit for this role because it plays to how I actually work day to day. I've always found that I enjoy fast-paced, challenging environments where you're presented with a problem and it's up to you to find the solution. In my first year, I attended your company's presentation on campus and realised that consulting offers just that. What stood out to me the most is how excited your speakers were about working at your company, as they got to learn from and work alongside some really talented colleagues. Having done several case competitions since my first year, I've seen the value of cooperation and bringing various points of view together, and I've seen firsthand how strong teamwork translates into excellent results. Consulting also offers the opportunity to work across different industries and clients, and I've always enjoyed learning new things, which I think helped me become the first person in my family to attend university. From speaking to someone currently on your graduate scheme, I understand you have a social mobility affinity group. Your colleague also told me that a lot of the work involves juggling multiple tasks at once, with multiple problem-solving sessions in the day being the norm. During my time at university, I relied heavily on my planning and time management skills, which enabled me to maintain high grades while also acting as the Consulting Society president and working a part-time job at the same time in retail. For example, I created a short onboarding guide for new recruits at my part-time job because I noticed just how much time we were losing to answering the same questions. I like to bring that same mindset into this role.
Okay, of course you won't be able to jam-pack every single thing into your answer, so you have to pick and choose your strongest element. In this answer, he called out the most essential skills for a consultant, which is a quick learner and team player who can work under pressure. He then reinforced how he has these skills with examples. In his answer, he also referenced several company-specific elements like attending their campus event, being aware of the affinity group, networking with a current consultant, and even using the company term problem solving, which is how they internally call team meetings. You're unlikely to have unlimited time to answer this question in a real interview, so the formula should be: 1. Pick 3 most important skills for the job and give examples of you using these skills. 2. Reference company-specific elements, ideally reference to a conversation you had with someone from that company to show you made a well-informed decision to apply. And 3. Weave in a personal interest element to solidify that you're not just competent, you're motivated. And remember, you don't need as much luck when you're prepared. So keep going, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!